Hey everybody, and welcome back to the internet, where we tell stories about terrible people so that we can feel better about ourselves. So this first story is called Wine All You Like. I'm Not Giving Your 15-year-old a Glass of Wine. So before I get into business and reporting analysis, I was a waitress for about 8 years. I have far too many stories, but this one is one of my favorites. So I was working at a gastropub as a supervisor. I had a personal alcohol license. In the UK, you have to have someone on site with one and have to abide by certain laws, as well as the premises license, which can also dictate whatever you can or cannot do. Failure to do so can mean the loss of your license, the premises license, and a personal fine if you're caught. Also, you can lose your job. The issue is, these two can sometimes contradict one another. This is important later. So we had a family come in one evening wanting dinner. One of the two children was 15 or 16. She'll be known as the entitled kid. So I sat the family down, told them the specials, and asked them what they'd like to drink. Entitled Mom orders a lime and soda. The dad orders a pint of lager, and Entitled Kid orders a small glass of rose wine. We had a challenge 25 policy in place, which meant if you looked younger than 25, you would be asked for an ID. I ID'd the kid, which is where this all starts. The mom says, "You don't need to see her ID." I say, "Unfortunately, it's our policy to ID anyone who looks younger than 25, which your daughter does." Dad says, "She's 16, which by law allows her a small glass of wine." You remember what I said about contradictions between law and license? This was one of them. By the UK law, you are allowed to have a small glass of wine or a half pint of lager with a meal if you are with a parent or guardian and are 16 or 17. Most premises licenses prohibited this, as it is harder to prove if you are 16 or 17, as you don't go out with ID usually. The pub I worked at had this in their license, so it didn't matter if she was 16, she wouldn't be allowed it. I say, "I'm very sorry, but I still cannot give her the wine, as it is prohibited in our license to sell alcohol to her. We have a great line of mocktails if she'd prefer." Mom says, "No, she'll have the wine." I say, "No, I will not be selling her any wine, as it could cost me my job. And this place could be shut down if an inspector came in and ID'd her." Not all entitled parents have to shout to be entitled. Sometimes it's the calm, not my problem attitude that makes an entitled parent the way they are. That was this woman. The mom says, "I don't care about that, just bring her what she asks for." The kid says, "I want wine. They said I could have it, and I want it." I knew where this was going, and I had to stand my ground. I say, "I'm sorry, but I can't sell you any wine. Is there anything else you'd like?" The mom then started complaining to her husband, exasperated that we wouldn't bring her darling girl a glass of wine. The dad says, "Look, it's her birthday. Is there any way you could overlook it this once?" His words were nice, but his tone was expectant that I'd relent. I say, "Sorry, no." The mom says, "Fine," and throws her hands up in exasperation. "You've made me want a glass of wine now. I'll have one instead. She'll have Coke." I say, "Thank you. Sorry again. Just to reiterate that the wine is for you and not her. I may ask you to leave if she is seen drinking the wine." She just says, "Whatever." So off I go to make the drinks. I come back and take their food order. I put through to the kitchen and ask one of my members of staff to keep an eye on them while I went for a quick break. I'd been on the shift for 12 hours at this point with no break and needed to put my feet up for a few moments. I came back from my break to see the entitled kid drinking the wine and the entitled mom drinking the Coke. I was pissed. I started walking over there. Entitled Mom notices me and tried to switch back the glasses. I say, "Hi there, folks. Now, I don't want to cause a scene, but I did say when taking her drink order that Entitled Kid couldn't drink wine on the premises, which indicated you understood what the consequences of that may be." She says, "I don't remember that." She had a sneer on her face that said, "And what are you gonna do?" If she had been decent, I would have given them another warning. But because she was a bish, I took another route. I say, "Whether you remember or not, I remember saying it. Unfortunately, because of this infraction of our premises license, I have the right to ask you to pay for your food and drink and leave." This is when the entitled dad blew up. He says, "No, we're not leaving, and I refuse to pay. How dare you treat us like this? I demand to speak to a manager." I say, "I am the manager tonight, so you'll deal with me. Please calm down, sir, as you're disturbing other guests." More and more people had begun viewing our little spectacle. None more so than the elderly gentleman, my savior, and his son, who were at the next table. He says, "How dare you, young man? I have heard enough. This young lady explained to you that your daughter could not have a glass of wine, and you defied that by putting her job in this place at risk for your own selfishness." The dad says, "F off, old man. If I'd want a lecture, I'd call my own dad." I say, "Sir, if you don't calm down, I'll have no choice but to have you forcibly removed. By the police, if necessary." This made Entitled Dad balk. Entitled Mom wasn't having any of it. She says, "We are not leaving. We'll go in our own time, and you will bring us the rest of the bottle of wine as a compensation for your rudeness." I laughed at that. To think I would do that is ridiculous and delusional, to say the least. I say, "No, I'm sorry. I'm done being patient. Please pay and leave. I'll have your food packed up for you to go." I reached for the entitled kid's plate first, which is when the entitled dad grabs my wrist and squeezed it until it hurt. He says, "Don't you touch that." A bit scared at this point, I struggled with what to say until he yelled in pain. The old guy had told my employee to call the police and had struck entitled dad with his cane to get him to release my arm. His son had taken up beside him, and there were a few people shouting at them to just go. About 10 minutes later, 2 officers arrived and took my statement. The family obviously took a different story, which was proven false by the CCTV and its audio. The father was charged with endangerment of a minor. The kid was actually 15, not 16. ABH, I had a nasty bruise, and resisting arrest. He tried to get out of the officer's grip. I think he got fines and community service. Entitled mom was cautioned and was told to pay for her food and any other costs incurred by her and her partner. I got a well-earned day off. The thing is, if they'd had a nice meal at home, it would have been fine, as it's legal to drink alcohol in a private home from age 5. The entitled kid could have had a whole bottle of Rose if she wanted. Jeez, the UK has some pretty lenient alcohol laws compared to the US. I guess that's why they take so much pride in their alcoholism over there. But hey, see, this is how you shut down an entitled person, is you just play by the rules and stay assertive and don't back down. These entitled people only try to use intimidation to try and get what they want, so if you don't let that work on you, then they have no power over you. And then you just get to watch them get in trouble for it. So the next story is called Entitled Mom Wants My Hair Extensions. So just a normal encounter with an entitled mom who thinks they rule the earth and you're just living in it. I have really long hair that reaches my thighs, mostly because I like long hair. I do get normal haircuts, but it grows back really fast. So every month I get a little trim just to get rid of the dead ends. But with long hair comes great responsibility, and I often have to find the certain methods to keep my hair manageable but healthy. I heard of a shampooing method where you shampoo it every 2 days, but you don't use conditioner in the shower. Instead, replace it with leave-in conditioner to keep your curls moisturized if you have naturally wavy hair. It seems to work well. But because of my long hair, a lot of people tend to touch it without permission, and I don't like being touched by strangers, and here's what happened. I'd just gotten off work, and before I head home, I decided to drop by my local pharmacy to see if they had any of my favorite hair care products that I use. As I'm looking, I noticed someone approaching me. I ignore them because I don't care. I'm tired and I just want to go home after dealing with demanding customers throwing fit over stupid food. The person walked up to me and complimented my hair. She will be known as the Crazy Hair Lady, aka CHL. So she has her kid with her and she's staring at my long hair. A sweet little girl who had a Disney princess shirt on. I guess she saw me as a Rapunzel, but instead of blonde hair I have brown hair. That hasn't been colored since my junior year in high school. Sweet little girl said she liked my pretty hair, and since I have a soft spot for kids, I thanked her and went back for my quest for hair products. The lady says, "It's a very nice shade, where did you buy it?" I said, "I didn't buy it, it's real." She laughed because she, I guess, honestly thought that I was wearing hair extensions. But I explained to her again that it's naturally this long and naturally this color. She says, "Well, my daughter loves it and would like a piece." I didn't know what she meant because I'd never worn hair extensions in my life, so I didn't know how the whole process goes, but I was polite but firm that my hair is real, and that kind of set her off. She says, "Give me a piece." The little girl was red from embarrassment and tugged on her mother's hand to get her to stop, but she was not having it, and neither was I. Already annoyed, I decided I wasted my time with this lady long enough and left, but as I did, the idiot woman grabbed my hair and yanked with the force used to start a lawnmower. Alright ladies, if you grew up with a mother, a Beulah or Tia would have pulled your hair back with such force to tie it up in a nice ponytail to the right point where you couldn't even blink, you would know the pain that I felt. I screamed bloody murder, and out of reflex, I slapped that woman's face so hard that for the next 3 hours my hand was still throbbing. As she fell, I up and bolted it out of that pharmacy and ran to my car. I went home and told my boyfriend what had happened, and he laughed because even he knew that you don't touch a woman's hair without her permission, especially if she doesn't know you and said woman hates being touched. I don't know what happened to that lady, but I felt very sorry for her little girl. Man, these entitled people will take anything they can get. It's just, "Hey, I like your hair, give it to me." "Hey, I like your channel, you should give it to me." Well, with this channel, today's final story is called, "Is it okay for my aunt to come uninvited to my birthday party after being told not to show up, and then demands gifts?" Okay, so my aunt was basically disowned after what happened, and then she was told she couldn't show up to my birthday, but she came anyway. Seeing as my mom wasn't in the mood to deal with her, she let it be. But that was when she started acting up. She accidentally poured her drink on me and my siblings, then demanded I get her another. Later on, she came in my room when I was with my friends and told me to help her get food, or she would tell my mom I was doing drugs in my room. Not wanting to do it, I told her to do it herself. She said nothing and went away. Near the end, it was time to open gifts. My nice aunt didn't know what a 16-year-old wanted, so she gave me birthday money. I swear my evil aunt's face lit up seeing the money, and not wanting to deal with it, I put it in my dad's old safe he gave me before he moved. Then when I got my gift from my dad, a new airsoft G36C, my aunt grabbed at it, and my dad told her to stop. And my aunt just kept screaming about how guns are dangerous, and she was going to do me a favor by taking it and giving it to her irresponsible 12-year-old child. My mom was done with her sister. The following conversation happened. She says, "Why are you doing this? You weren't even invited." She says, "I was saving your son from gun violence. You should be thanking me." By giving it to your 12-year-old boy who cuts up wires to a plugged-in computer? Absolutely not. Leave now. She says, "But we're family." She says, "Not anymore. Jeez, you have been nothing but trouble since you showed up. Just leave now." She says, "Wait until my husband comes here. He will show you to turn down family like that." She says, "Leave now." "Okay then, give me his birthday money." I say, "How about you leave before my dad deals with you?" She says, "You are rude." She leaves, but not before grabbing the whole freaking safe, which contained my money and my airsoft MK18, and as well as my grandfather's ashes. It was heavy, and my dad caught up with her and grabbed it from her, and told her to never come back ever again. And I heard later on she was taken to rehab after being caught with her drugs on her way back from my party. Oh man. I mean, it's bad enough that you might run into somebody like this one day, but I can't imagine like being related to someone like this and just having to deal with them all the time. I think the funniest thing is how she's just like, "You shouldn't be playing with guns, so I'm gonna give it to my 12-year-old kid." It's like she's just saying, "I really want my kid to just shoot himself or something." Oh well. Hope you enjoyed today's Entitled People and Parents stories, so I will talk to you guys tomorrow.